South became Republican.
Debunking MAGA History, Part 3. This is one of their favorites, denying the platform shift.
The argument from the left is it's because the racist Dixiecrats moved over into the Republican Party. In other words, the Republican Party got all the racists from the Democratic Party.
Yeah, this type of shit is gonna send me to an early grave. This is one of the most disingenuous takes I've ever seen. That is not at all the argument from the left. In academia, there is no left and right. There's simply objective fact. And the Dixiecrats were a fairly inconsequential part of the broader platform shift. They were around for all of 4 months in 1948 and came about as a protest to Truman integrating the military. They're really a footnote and just serve as a harbinger of things to come. The platform shift itself refers to the voting populace switching parties, not the politicians. But go on.
Now, this argument is empirically false. By Dixiecrats, we mean two things. One, the members of the actual Dixiecrat party that broke off in the 1940s and established a kind of racist wing led by Strom Thurmond. And we also refer to all the congressmen and senators and governors who opposed and voted against, in many cases, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act.
No, when we're referring to the Dixiecrats, we're referring to the Dixiecrats, who were not around by the 1960s.
If you count the actual Dixiecrats, a couple of hundred of them, and ask how many of those guys moved into the Republican camp, the answer is precisely 2. One in the Senate, Strom Thurmond himself.
Oh yeah, guys, no big deal there. Completely inconsequential that the single most prominent racist of his time became a Republican. But go ahead.
And one in the House, a guy named Watson. This is the crushing, irrefutable fact that completely destroys the idea that the racist Dixiecrats became Republicans.
Well, that was never the argument, since again, the Dixiecrats were not around. But even by your own fucking argument, 2 of them did, including the single most prominent racist in the country. You gonna comment on what Strom Thurmond did after that point in time? Did he just drop the racism?
So what the historians on the left, who are cover-up artists, scam artists, if you will, try to do, is they try to obfuscate these waters. They redefine Dixiecrats. If you look, for example, at the historian Kevin Cruz, he'll talk about people who weren't Dixiecrats at all. He'll say, let's look at Jesse Helms, let's look at John Tower, let's look at Trent Lott. Those guys weren't Dixiecrats.
Nobody ever made that argument aside from you. They were just Democrats who switched their party affiliation. The reason historians point to them is because they are representative of the broader exodus from the Democratic Party circa the 1960s. Technically, Strom Thurmond wasn't a Dixiecrat then either. He was just a Democrat. You fucking...
The reason the South became Republican, well, first of all, this occurred in the Reagan years and then in the 1990s.
A, no, it wasn't. It was much earlier than that. B, ultimate irony that he wants to use Ronald Reagan, who himself switched parties from Democrat to Republican in 1962, nearing the height of that platform shift. I guess we're just not going to talk about guys like Barry Goldwater and the Southern strategy, right? George Wallace and the Northern strategy. Look to the Republican Convention of 1964, one of the most consequential in American history, where they openly barred black members from even entering the building, physically assaulted black delegates on the floor. And Barry Goldwater showed the entire Republican establishment that, hey, there are millions of disaffected white conservatives, primarily in the South, who have been left politically homeless, and they are there for the fucking taking. Showed how effective that could be, but really who capitalized on it was Richard Nixon. It was the first time in history that one party represented conservatives, the other represented liberals. The parties themselves used to be structured differently. There were liberal and conservative wings of each party. That's really more what the platform shift itself is about. You fucking idiot.
What was Reagan's platform? Anti-communism, pro-life, family values, free markets, patriotism. So as the Democrats moved left on these issues, it turned out that non-racist conservatives in the South began to move over into the Republican Party. The simple truth is, as the South became less racist, it became more Republican.
That's right, guys. The South became less racist. That's why they started voting for Republicans. Only conservatives can be dumb enough to actually buy this shit. Like, if it never shifted, why are you guys so big on claiming what's supposedly Democratic heritage? Y'all are the ones flying the Confederate flags. If we're the ones who started the Klan, why won't you let us take down our statues? Book recommendation. Freedom's Dominion by Jefferson Cowie, a saga of white resistance to federal power. As you can see, it won the Pulitzer, goes in depth to the platform shift. This is a well-documented historical fact. There is no serious disagreement when it comes to the history of the platform shift. Read a fucking book.